Orlando Bloom, best known for his iconic roles in The Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean, has embarked on an awe-inspiring and deeply personal journey in his new adventure series, Orlando Bloom: To the Edge, released in 2024. This series is not just about an actor taking on physical challenges, it is a story of courage, spirituality, and the pursuit of self-discovery. Bloom isn't just climbing cliffs or diving into the unknown, he's venturing into the depths of his own mind, pushing beyond limits that are as much mental and emotional as they are physical. It's a journey that makes us ask, how far can we really go when we combine body, mind, and spirit? Bloom faces these extreme challenges, wingsuiting, free diving, rock climbing, not with mere bravado, but with a mindfulness that is beautifully rooted in his Buddhist practice. It's easy to look at these stunts and think it's all about adrenaline, but for Bloom, these adventures are so much more. They are about transformation, about finding clarity amid the noise of life, and about facing fears with a full heart. His practice of Nichiren Buddhism has been his compass, his anchor, guiding him through the unpredictability of both Hollywood and extreme sports. Isn't it fascinating how an inner spiritual practice can become the fuel for conquering such seemingly outward feats? Ready to push your limits and dive deep into self-discovery? Subscribe channel now and join Orlando Bloom on this incredible adventure. Orlando Bloom's Buddhist practice. Orlando Bloom's story with Buddhism began when he was just 16 years old. Imagine being a teenager, lost in the chaos of adolescence, and suddenly finding a practice that gives you meaning and stability. That's precisely what happened to Bloom, who discovered Nichiren Buddhism during a turbulent time in his life. Introduced by a friend, this practice became his guiding light, helping him navigate through Hollywood's dizzying heights and his own personal struggles. Can you picture a young Bloom, just starting out in the world, finding solace in the rhythmic chant of Na Myoho Renge Kyo? It's beautiful to think about how that young boy, seeking answers, found a spiritual path that would be with him for decades. For Bloom, chanting isn't just a spiritual exercise, it's a way to connect deeply with his inner strength, to cultivate resilience, and to transform his challenges into opportunities for growth. He's often said, as a philosophy and as a practice, it's something that's definitely been the anchor in my life. How often do we feel the need for an anchor, something that grounds us amid the turbulence of modern life? For Bloom, the act of chanting brings gratitude and mindfulness into his everyday existence, a reminder that no matter how chaotic things get, there's always a space of calm he can return to. In that sense, his Buddhist practice becomes a kind of superpower, one that allows him to embrace life's uncertainties with grace and courage. Facing challenges in To the Edge. Orlando Bloom: To the Edge isn't merely an adventure series, it's a profound exploration of the human spirit. As viewers, we get a front-row seat to Bloom's physical feats, but perhaps even more importantly, we witness his vulnerability and honesty. Here is a man, a Hollywood star, willingly putting himself into situations that terrify him, and he doesn't hide that fear. Instead, he embraces it, shares it, and shows us how his Buddhist practice helps him move through it. Isn't that what true bravery is about, not the absence of fear, but the willingness to face it head-on? One of the most touching moments in the series is when Bloom chants before a high-stakes wingsuit jump. You can see the tension in his body, the fear flickering in his eyes. And then he begins to chant, the sound is steady, calming, a bridge between his fear and the action he is about to take. What a powerful image, standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind roaring, the drop below seemingly endless, and finding peace in the sound of your own voice. It's in moments like these that we truly see how spirituality can transform the seemingly impossible into something attainable, not by removing fear, but by reshaping it into something we can embrace. The intersection of Buddhism and extreme sports. At first glance, Buddhism and extreme sports seem worlds apart. Buddhism is about peace, mindfulness, and detachment. Extreme sports are about adrenaline, pushing limits, and facing danger. But for Bloom, these two worlds are beautifully intertwined. He doesn't seek thrill for thrill's sake, he seeks a deeper connection with himself. The chanting of Nam Myo Horenchikyo before a dangerous climb or dive isn't about superstition, it's about cultivating a sense of presence and awareness, about grounding himself in the moment so fully that fear loses its grip. There's a powerful Buddhist concept called turning poison into medicine, which speaks to transforming suffering into growth. Bloom embodies this idea in To the Edge. Every fear, every doubt, every moment of hesitation becomes an opportunity, a chance to learn, to grow, to understand himself better. It's a concept that resonates deeply with anyone who has faced their own fears. How often do we let fear hold us back, paralyze us? And yet, here's Bloom, showing us that with the right mindset, fear can become the very fuel that drives us forward. The role of mindfulness in Bloom's journey. Mindfulness is at the core of Bloom's journey, both in life and in To the Edge. Whether he's free diving into the depths of the ocean or scaling a rock face, his focus is unwavering. But this focus isn't about shutting out fear or discomfort, it's about embracing it. When he's underwater, holding his breath, he's not just fighting the urge to breathe, he's facing his own mind, his own panic, and learning to move through it. Isn't that what life often demands of us, to stay present, even when everything inside us is screaming to flee? There's something deeply moving about watching Bloom push himself in these ways. He doesn't pretend to be fearless, instead, he shows us how he navigates fear. He shows us that mindfulness isn't just a practice for moments of peace, but also for moments of great challenge. His journey reminds us that mindfulness is not just about noticing the beauty of a flower or the sound of a bird, it's also about being present with our discomfort, our fears, and our doubts, and moving through them, one breath at a time. Embracing vulnerability. One of the most powerful themes throughout To the Edge is Bloom's willingness to embrace vulnerability. In our society, vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, something to hide or overcome. But Bloom shows us that true strength lies in being open about our fears, our doubts, and our insecurities. By sharing his vulnerabilities, Bloom allows us to connect with him on a deeper level. We see him not just as a Hollywood star, but as a human being, one who faces the same fears and uncertainties that we all do. In one particularly poignant episode, Bloom talks about the pressure he has felt throughout his career, the pressure to succeed, to be perfect, to live up to the expectations of others. He shares how, at times, these pressures have felt overwhelming, and how his Buddhist practice has helped him find balance. By chanting and meditating, Bloom has learned to let go of the need for perfection and instead focus on the process, on the journey. It's a powerful reminder that it's okay to be imperfect, that it's okay to struggle, and that our worth is not defined by our successes or failures, but by our willingness to keep going. Transforming fear into growth. Fear is a constant presence in To the Edge. Whether it's the fear of heights, the fear of failure, or the fear of the unknown, Bloom faces it head-on. But what's truly inspiring is how he transforms that fear into a catalyst for growth. He doesn't shy away from it, he uses it. In one episode, Bloom talks about how fear is not something to be eliminated, but something to be understood and embraced. Fear is a part of life, he says. It's not about getting rid of it, it's about learning to dance with it. This perspective is deeply rooted in his Buddhist practice. In Nichiren Buddhism, there is a concept known as turning poison into medicine, which is about transforming negative experiences into positive growth. Bloom embodies this concept in every challenge he faces. By confronting his fears, he turns them into opportunities for self-discovery and transformation. It's a lesson that we can all take to heart. How can we transform our own fears into opportunities for growth? How can we learn to dance with our fears, rather than letting them hold us back? The power of presence. Another key aspect of Bloom's journey is the power of presence. In our fast-paced world, it's so easy to get caught up in the past or worry about the future. But in To the Edge, Bloom shows us the importance of being fully present in each moment. Whether he's standing at the edge of a cliff, preparing to jump, or sitting quietly by a campfire, Bloom is fully there, fully engaged. His Buddhist practice of chanting and meditation helps him cultivate this sense of presence, allowing him to experience each moment fully, without distraction. In one episode, Bloom talks about how, when he's wingsuiting or free diving, there is no room for distraction. In those moments, you have to be completely present, he says. There's no past, no future, just the now. This level of presence is something that we can all aspire to, whether we're facing a major challenge or simply going about our daily lives. How often do we truly experience the present moment? How often do we allow ourselves to fully engage with what's happening right now, rather than getting lost in our thoughts? Finding peace in chaos. Extreme sports are, by nature, chaotic. The rush of adrenaline, the unpredictable elements, the constant awareness of danger, it's a far cry from the peaceful image that many of us associate with spirituality. And yet, Bloom finds peace within this chaos. Through his Buddhist practice, he has learned to create a sense of inner stillness, even in the most challenging situations. It's a powerful reminder that peace is not something that exists outside of us, it's something that we cultivate within ourselves. In one memorable scene, Bloom is preparing for a rock climb. The wind is howling, the rocks are slick, and the drop below is dizzying. And yet, before he begins, he closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. He chants softly, centering himself, finding that place of calm within. It's a beautiful moment, a reminder that no matter how chaotic the world around us may be, we always have the ability to find peace within ourselves. Isn't that what we all long for? The ability to remain calm and centered, even when everything around us feels overwhelming? A deeper connection with nature. Throughout To the Edge, Bloom's connection with nature is evident. Whether he's climbing a mountain, diving into the ocean, or simply sitting by a campfire, there is a deep sense of reverence for the natural world. This connection is an integral part of his spiritual journey. In Buddhism, there is a profound respect for all living beings and for the interconnectedness of life. Bloom embodies this respect, approaching each challenge with a sense of humility and gratitude for the natural world. In one episode, Bloom reflects on the beauty of the mountains he is climbing. There's something so humbling about being out here, he says. You realize how small you are, how vast the world is, and how everything is connected. This sense of interconnectedness is a core tenet of Buddhism, the idea that we are all part of something greater, that our actions impact not only ourselves but the world around us. Bloom's journey is a powerful reminder of the importance of respecting and honoring the natural world, of recognizing our place within it, and of cultivating a sense of stewardship for the planet. The importance of community. While much of To the Edge focuses on Bloom's individual journey, there is also a strong emphasis on the importance of community. Throughout the series, we see Bloom surrounded by a supportive team, friends, guides, and experts who help him navigate the challenges he faces. This sense of community is also a key aspect of his Buddhist practice. In Nichiren Buddhism, the concept of Itai Dashin speaks to the importance of unity and harmony within a community, many in body, one in mind. Bloom often talks about how his Buddhist community has been a source of strength and encouragement for him. The practice of chanting together, of supporting one another through life's challenges, has been an integral part of his journey. In To the Edge, we see this sense of community in action, whether it's his team encouraging him before a dive or celebrating with him after a successful climb. The support of others is a vital part of his success. It's a reminder that while our individual journeys are important, we are never truly alone. We are all connected, and the support of others can make all the difference in helping us overcome our fears and achieve our goals. A journey of self-discovery. Ultimately, Orlando Bloom, To the Edge, is about self-discovery. Through these physical challenges, Bloom delves deeply into his spiritual practice, exploring not just the world around him, but the world within him. It's a reminder that the greatest journeys are often the ones we take within ourselves, the journeys where we confront our own limitations, our fears, our vulnerabilities. Bloom doesn't seek to conquer nature or prove his toughness. Instead, He seeks understanding, of himself, of his mind, of the world. And isn't that what we all seek, in one way or another? We may not all be climbing cliffs or diving into deep waters, but we all face challenges that push us to our limits. Bloom's journey is a powerful reminder that we have tools, whether it's mindfulness, meditation, or something else entirely, to help us navigate those moments. His story shows us that courage isn't about being unafraid, it's about being willing to face our fears, to sit with them, and to move forward anyway. Bloom's journey of self-discovery is also a journey of letting go. Letting go of the need for control, of the need for perfection, of the fear of failure. Through his Buddhist practice, Bloom has learned to let go of these attachments and instead focus on the present moment. He talks about how, in the past, he often felt the need to control every aspect of his life, to ensure that everything went according to plan. But through chanting and meditation, he has learned to surrender, to trust in the process, to let go of the outcome, and to find peace in the uncertainty. The impact of Bloom's journey on viewers. Orlando Bloom, To the Edge, is more than just an adventure series, it's an invitation for viewers to reflect on their own lives, their own fears, and their own potential for growth. Bloom's openness about his vulnerabilities, his fears, and his spiritual journey creates a space for viewers to do the same. It's a reminder that we all face challenges, that we all have fears, and that we all have the capacity to overcome them. One of the most impactful aspects of the series is the way it encourages viewers to look at their own fears in a new light. Fear is something that we all experience, but it's often something that we try to avoid or suppress. Bloom's journey shows us that fear is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced, understood, and transformed. By sharing his process of chanting, meditating, and facing his fears head-on, Bloom offers viewers practical tools that they can use in their own lives. Expanding the boundaries, Bloom's reflections on life and adventure. While the physical aspect of Bloom's journey is impressive, it is the introspective and philosophical reflections that truly deepen the impact of To the Edge. Throughout the series, Bloom takes time to share his thoughts on life, purpose, and the pursuit of adventure. He speaks about the importance of balance, how the thrill of adventure must be tempered with the wisdom of self-awareness. He reminds viewers that adventure is not about recklessness, it's about calculated risk, about knowing oneself deeply enough to understand where one's limits lie, and about challenging those limits in a mindful way. In one particularly profound reflection, Bloom talks about the impermanence of life, a concept that is central to Buddhist philosophy. He shares how his experiences with extreme sports have brought him face to face with the transient nature of existence. Every time I step off that ledge, I am reminded of how fleeting life is, he says. It's both terrifying and beautiful, knowing that each moment is precious because it could be your last. This acknowledgement of impermanence doesn't lead to despair, rather, it inspires a greater appreciation for the present moment. It's a reminder to live fully, to embrace every experience, and to find beauty in the ephemeral nature of life. Bloom also reflects on the idea of ego and the role it plays in both acting and adventure. As an actor, Bloom is no stranger to the challenges of managing ego, of navigating fame, recognition, and the pressures of public perception. In To the Edge, he talks candidly about how his Buddhist practice has helped him separate his true self from the persona that the world sees. The ego wants to be admired, to be seen as fearless, he says. But real courage comes from being willing to be vulnerable, to be honest about your fears, and to let go of the need for approval. These reflections offer a powerful reminder that true adventure is not about proving oneself to others, it's about discovering oneself. The practice of chanting, a source of inner strength. Central to Bloom's spiritual journey is the practice of chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. This mantra, central to Nichiren Buddhism, is more than just a set of words, it is a declaration of intent, a way to align oneself with the rhythm of the universe. Bloom often describes chanting as a way to access his inner strength, to connect with a sense of purpose that goes beyond the superficial aspects of life. In To the Edge, we see Bloom chanting before each major challenge, using the practice to center himself, to calm his mind, and to find the courage to move forward. In one powerful scene, Bloom is preparing for a particularly dangerous free dive. The camera captures him sitting cross-legged on the beach, eyes closed, chanting softly. The sun is setting, the waves are crashing, and there is a palpable sense of tension in the air. As he chants, we see the tension in his body begin to ease, his breathing slows, and a look of calm determination comes over his face. It's a beautiful illustration of the power of spiritual practice, a reminder that even in the face of great danger, there is a place of stillness within us that we can access through mindfulness and intention. Bloom explains that chanting is not about asking for external outcomes, it's about cultivating an internal state of resilience and clarity. When I chant, I'm not asking for things to be easy, he says. I'm asking for the strength to face whatever comes my way. This perspective is deeply inspiring, as it shifts the focus from trying to control the external world to cultivating inner strength and adaptability. It's a reminder that true power comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them with an open heart and a calm mind. The lessons of nature, finding wisdom in the wilderness. Throughout, To the Edge, nature is both a backdrop and a teacher. Bloom's adventures take him to some of the most breathtaking and remote locations on the planet, towering mountains, deep oceans, and vast wildernesses. In these natural settings, Bloom finds not only physical challenges but also profound lessons about life, humility, and interconnectedness. He speaks often about the wisdom that can be found in nature, the way a mountain, an ocean, or a forest can teach us about patience, resilience, and the beauty of simply being. In one episode, Bloom is seen climbing a mountain at dawn. The sky is painted in hues of pink and orange, and there is a stillness that is almost sacred. As he climbs, Bloom reflects on the lessons that the mountain has to offer. A mountain doesn't care about your ego, he says. It doesn't care how strong you think you are, or how famous you might be. It demands respect, humility, and presence. And if you don't give it those things, it will humble you. This reflection is a powerful reminder of the importance of approaching life with humility, of recognizing that there are forces greater than ourselves, and that true strength comes from working in harmony with those forces rather than trying to dominate them. Bloom also speaks about the importance of listening to nature, of tuning into the subtle rhythms and cues that the natural world provides. Whether it's the way the wind shifts before a storm, the way the ocean swells, or the way the birds call at dawn, there is a wisdom in nature that can guide us if we are willing to listen. This practice of listening is deeply connected to mindfulness, to the ability to be fully present and attuned to the world around us. In a world that is often noisy and chaotic, Bloom's reflections on the lessons of nature offer a reminder of the importance of stillness, of observation, and of finding wisdom in the simplicity of the natural world. Overcoming inner obstacles, Bloom's battle with self-doubt. One of the most relatable aspects of Bloom's journey is his openness about his struggles with self-doubt. Despite his success as an actor and adventurer, Bloom shares candidly about the moments when he has questioned his abilities, his worth, and his path. In To the Edge, we see these moments of doubt play out in real time, whether it's standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure if he can make the jump, or sitting by a campfire, reflecting on the challenges he has faced. Bloom's honesty about his self-doubt is deeply powerful because it breaks down the illusion that courage is the absence of fear. Instead, he shows us that courage is the willingness to face our fears, even when we feel unsure or inadequate. In one particularly moving scene, Bloom talks about a time in his career when he felt lost, when the pressures of fame and the expectations of others made him question whether he was on the right path. He shares how his Buddhist practice helped him navigate that difficult time, reminding him that his worth was not defined by external success but by his own sense of purpose and integrity. Bloom's reflections on self-doubt are a reminder that we all face inner obstacles, that the greatest challenges we face are often not external, but internal. Whether it's fear, doubt, or insecurity, these inner obstacles can hold us back if we let them. But Bloom shows us that by acknowledging these feelings, by sitting with them rather than running from them, we can find a way through. It's a reminder that true growth comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing it and allowing it to transform us. The joy of adventure, finding playfulness in the challenge. While much of To the Edge is focused on the serious aspects of Bloom's journey, courage, vulnerability, and self-discovery, there is also a deep sense of joy and playfulness that runs throughout the series. Bloom's love for adventure is palpable, and it's clear that despite the challenges, he finds immense joy in pushing his limits and exploring the world. This sense of playfulness is an important aspect of his journey, as it reminds us that life is not just about overcoming obstacles, it's also about finding joy in the process. In one episode, Bloom is seen practicing flips on a trampoline as a way to prepare for a wingsuit jump. He laughs as he stumbles and falls, getting back up with a grin on his face. "You've got to have fun with it," he says. "If you're not enjoying the process, what's the point?" This sense of playfulness is a reminder that while challenges are an important part of growth, so too is joy. It's about finding a balance, about taking our growth seriously, but not taking ourselves too seriously. Bloom's joy in adventure also speaks to the importance of curiosity, the desire to explore, to learn, and to experience new things. He approaches each challenge with a sense of wonder, with a childlike curiosity that makes even the most daunting tasks seem like an exciting opportunity. This perspective is deeply inspiring, as it reminds us that life is an adventure, that even in the face of fear and uncertainty, there is always room for joy, for play, and for the simple pleasure of exploring the unknown. The power of ritual, creating meaning in everyday actions. Throughout To the Edge, Bloom's practice of ritual is evident, not only in his chanting but also in the small, intentional actions that he takes before each challenge. Whether it's taking a deep breath before a jump, lighting a candle before a meditation, or simply taking a moment to appreciate the beauty of his surroundings, these rituals are an important part of his journey. They create a sense of meaning, a sense of connection, and a sense of purpose that goes beyond the physical aspects of the adventure. Bloom speaks about the importance of ritual as a way to bring mindfulness and intention into everyday life. Rituals are a way to remind ourselves of what matters, he says. They help us slow down, take a breath, and connect with something deeper. In a world that often feels rushed and disconnected, these rituals offer a way to create moments of stillness, to find meaning in the midst of chaos, and to ground ourselves in the present moment. One of the most powerful rituals that Bloom shares is his practice of gratitude. Before each challenge, he takes a moment to express gratitude, for the opportunity, for the people who support him, and for the beauty of the natural world. This practice of gratitude is deeply connected to his Buddhist practice, as it shifts the focus from what is lacking to what is present. It's a reminder that even in the face of challenges, there is always something to be grateful for, something that can bring us back to a place of peace and perspective. The role of compassion, extending kindness to self and others. Compassion is a central theme in Bloom's journey, both in To the Edge and in his life more broadly. His Buddhist practice emphasizes the importance of compassion, not only for others but also for oneself. Throughout the series, Bloom speaks about the importance of being kind to oneself, of recognizing that growth is a process, and that it's okay to stumble along the way. We're all doing the best we can, he says. It's important to be gentle with ourselves, to recognize that we're human, and that it's okay to struggle. This message of self-compassion is deeply powerful, as it challenges the narrative that we must be perfect, that we must always succeed, and that failure is something to be ashamed of. Instead, Bloom shows us that failure is a natural part of growth, that it's an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to become stronger. By extending compassion to himself, he is able to approach each challenge with a sense of openness, without the fear of judgment or failure holding him back. Bloom also speaks about the importance of extending compassion to others, of recognizing that we are all connected, and that our actions impact not only ourselves but also those around us. In one episode, he reflects on the role that his team plays in his journey, expressing deep gratitude for their support and acknowledging that he couldn't do it alone. This sense of interconnectedness, of recognizing that we are all in this together, is a central tenet of Buddhism and a powerful reminder of the importance of community, empathy, and kindness. The impact of adventure on Bloom's spiritual growth. The journey of To the Edge is not just a physical one, it is also a deeply spiritual journey for Bloom. Through the challenges he faces, the fears he overcomes, and the reflections he shares, it is clear that this adventure has had a profound impact on his spiritual growth. Bloom speaks about how each challenge has brought him closer to understanding himself, to recognizing his strengths, and to embracing his vulnerabilities. In one episode, Bloom talks about how the experience of wingsuiting, of soaring through the air, with nothing but the wind around him, has been a spiritual awakening. In those moments, I feel completely free, he says. It's like all the worries, all the fears, all the doubts just fall away, and I'm left with this incredible sense of connection, to myself, to the world, to something greater. This sense of connection, of being part of something greater, is at the heart of Bloom's spiritual journey. It's a reminder that true freedom is not about escaping from life, it's about fully embracing it, with all its beauty, its challenges, and its uncertainties. Bloom's reflections on his spiritual growth also highlight the importance of embracing the unknown. Throughout To the Edge, he speaks about the uncertainty that comes with each challenge, the fact that there are no guarantees, no certainties, and that anything could happen. Rather than being paralyzed by this uncertainty, Bloom embraces it as a fundamental part of the adventure. The unknown is where growth happens, he says. It's where we discover who we really are. This perspective is deeply inspiring, as it encourages viewers to step out of their comfort zones, to embrace the uncertainty of life, and to see the unknown not as something to fear, but as an opportunity for growth and discovery. A legacy of courage and mindfulness. As To the Edge comes to a close, Bloom reflects on what he hopes viewers will take away from his journey. He speaks about the importance of courage, not the kind of courage that comes from being fearless, but the kind that comes from being willing to face fear, to be vulnerable, and to keep moving forward despite the uncertainty. He hopes that viewers will see that true strength lies not in physical prowess, but in the ability to be present, to be mindful, and to embrace the challenges of life with an open heart. Bloom also speaks about the importance of mindfulness, of cultivating a sense of presence, of being fully engaged with each moment, and of finding beauty in the everyday. He hopes that viewers will be inspired to bring mindfulness into their own lives, whether it's through meditation, through connecting with nature, or simply through taking a moment to breathe and appreciate the present. Life is happening right now, he says. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment, it's about finding the beauty in this moment, right here, right now. Conclusion. Orlando Bloom's journey in To the Edge is a powerful testament to the role that spiritual practice can play in navigating life's challenges. His dedication to Nichiren Buddhism has provided him with the tools to face his fears, to remain present, and to push beyond his perceived limitations. By sharing his journey, Bloom offers viewers more than just entertainment, he offers inspiration, a glimpse into the potential we all have to grow, to discover, and to transform ourselves from within. The greatest adventures, as Bloom shows us, are not the ones that take us to the highest peaks or the deepest oceans, they are the ones that take us within ourselves. They are the moments when we face our fears, when we embrace our vulnerabilities, and when we find the courage to be fully present, to live fully, and to love deeply. Bloom's story is a reminder that life is not about avoiding fear, but about embracing it. It's about finding the strength to face our challenges, the wisdom to learn from them, and the joy to celebrate every moment along the way. Through his journey, Bloom has shown us that with the right mindset, with a sense of presence, and with an open heart, we are all capable of going to the edge, and beyond. And isn't that what life is really about? Taking the leap, embracing the unknown, and discovering the limitless potential that lies within us all.